Cameron Bertuzzi recently hosted a debate on his channel over whether Muslims and Christians worship the same God, and it did not go well.
The argument is that your natural theology fails.
For context, there is a teaching from the Second Vatican Council of the Catholic Church that is being hotly debated online right now. The teaching states that Muslims are, in one way or another, worshiping the same God as Christians. Catholics are generally defending the teaching, Eastern Orthodox are debating it, and Protestants are picking sides based on which tradition they like more. This video isn't actually addressing the content of the debate itself. Redeem Zoomer released a really good video that covers the topic better than I could. And I'm also not here to share my own personal opinion on the topic. I'm here to talk about the conduct of the debate. I really have no dog in this fight. I'm entering the conversation as an onlooker. And from the outside looking in, this debate and the fallout that has preceded it has been an embarrassment, not just for the debaters, but for Christianity as a whole. I am appalled at the behavior displayed by the people in this debate.
No, because look at this guy, look at this demon back here.
And not only was this debate unfruitful, but if we continue to have more debates like this, it's going to hurt our Christian witness if it hasn't already. So what went wrong? There are a few things on display that we can look at. This first issue has always plagued online apologetics. In short, it seemed like the goal of the debate wasn't to lovingly clarify the truth, it was to debunk the other side. I love apologetics and I love watching debates, but it's pretty clear when people are using important issues like the one that's at hand to just farm clicks and views. What this can look like is seeing who can come up with the punchiest one-liners or have the loudest response.
Is the Son
You
of
didn't
God
realize that? You didn't realize that Jesus
guy
lived in
down. He
first
doesn't
century
know the Old
Palestine?
Testament. He doesn't know.
I don't want to belittle the work that went into this debate. It's clear the participants each did a lot of research on the topic. And while the content itself was probably pretty great, it was overshadowed by gotcha moments. And a lot of that just comes from my own personal viewpoint. This next issue is a little bit more objective. The debate participants were just flat out rude.
He can still love God.
And what did Jesus say?
I didn't say have the love of God. Have the love of God would be a very...
Their conduct wasn't just unprofessional, it was unchristlike. And if you've watched the debate, you know most of the heated moments came between Dr. Trent Dougherty and Dyer.
What are you doing?
$1,000. I'll give you $100 right now in escrow if you can make a syllogism.
Regardless of who was in the right or who was in the wrong, can you picture Christ acting that way? Don't get me wrong, Jesus didn't pull his punches. He let loose on some Pharisees if he had to. But he didn't act like a man-child while doing it. Again, this behavior is embarrassing. There's a way to stand your ground and be direct while debating, while respecting the dignity of the human across from you. My final issue is that Cameron Bertuzzi has essentially entered the debate as another opponent, which is just making the situation messier. Since the official debate, he's released 2 more live streams and a stream of posts to further rail against the Eastern Orthodox position and the men he invited on his channel to represent said position. Now, I get there may be a lot going on behind the scenes that I don't know about. I haven't had the opportunity to ever meet or interact with Cameron Bertuzzi. Again, I am here as an outsider and an onlooker. I also get that he is a Catholic and so he feels the need to defend the Catholic position. But it's not hard to objectively host a debate while supporting one side over the other. Matt Fradd did this really well when he hosted Gavin Ortlund and Trent Horn's Sola Scriptura debate. Matt Fradd, being a Catholic, is on the side of Trent Horn. He thinks that Sola Scriptura is a false doctrine. And the entire time, Matt remained cordial and removed from the debate, allowing the participants to speak for themselves. Even in a podcast that they held afterwards, he mostly just allowed Horn and Ortlund to speak for themselves without dogpiling on Gavin, the one Protestant in the room. Now, I acknowledge Gavin Ortlund is far different from Dyer. I've watched Dyer for years. He can be direct, for lack of a better word. I could also understand that Cameron might feel a need to stand up to Dyer, but it just adds to the mess of this situation. At this point, most people can kind of just see the behavior as coping because the Eastern Orthodox side did better in the debate. But to the outside world, especially the Muslims who might be curious about this debate, it just makes Christians look petty, rude, and divisive. So how could this situation be improved? How could we do better next time? For starters, I think these issues can sometimes be handled in the form of a casual discussion instead of a formal debate. Debates tend to just reinforce people's views rather than challenging them. People rarely enter them to be swayed by the other side. They're here to prove their point. And viewers of said debate are typically in the same boat as well. And because of the format of a debate, there's also a lot more pressure to just win and to sound clever. Discussions bring the tension down and allow people to have the freedom to figure out an idea together. Now, I'm not entirely against debates. Debates aren't always bad. They can be really helpful. But the best debates are oriented towards clarity, not victory. A good debate ends with both sides being clearly explained and understood. If people just go into a debate with winning as the only goal, It just adds more confusion. Let me give you an example. This last year, I got the opportunity to teach an apologetics class to a small group of young adults. For one assignment, I split the class of 10 in half to debate the problem of evil. One group of 5 posed as atheists, and the other group of 5 defended the Christian position. Now, a student on the atheist team really wanted to win, and he had the genius idea to assign every member of the atheist team a different atheistic worldview. One was a nihilist, one was a hedonist, the other was an empiricist, but either way, with 5 different atheistic worldviews to argue, the Christian side was stumped, especially because they came in prepared to debate kind of an agnostic seeker type of atheist. Someone kind of like Alex O'Connor. At the end of the debate, the atheist team had clearly won, but everybody just left more confused. And in a classroom setting, we had time to discuss and talk about what went wrong, what could have gone better. We got to dissect those worldviews that the student had brought up a little bit more. On YouTube, though, you don't get that same opportunity. And I think debates like the one on capturing Christianity just leaves people more confused than before they watched it. And those who weren't confused just left prideful and triumphant. At the end of the day, in all our conduct as Christians, whether online or in the real world, we need to lead with love. Because no matter how right we think we are, if we fail to reflect Christ in the way that we're treating each other, then we've missed the point entirely. Who are you trying to glorify with your behavior? God or yourself? That's a question we all need to wrestle with daily, not just the people in this debate. It can be easy to get caught up defending our theological tribe and getting into keyboard wars online. But that's not what Christianity needs right now. People outside the church are watching, and I've heard from atheist viewers of my channel, the division in Christianity is not a good look. It's not like conflict itself is the problem. Having conflict is okay. Even the apostles had disagreements, but they handled it face to face, in humility, and with the goal of preserving unity and truth. The goal for them was reconciliation, not public spectacle. The world cancels and shames each other. The kingdom of God always seeks unity.